It's like everyone wants a piece of our boy. In today's video, we're going to talk about Paddy Pimblett and how he has a problem with everyone undermining his victory at UFC 282, especially Joe Rogan. On top of that, we're also going to talk about fellow fighters and their opinion, which was mostly slander regarding the Baddy's recent fight. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into it. First up, Pimblett wants everyone to stop talking about his encounter. The lightweight Baddy claims he easily defeated Jared Gordon in the co-main event at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. He especially doesn't like the close call narrative Joe Rogan established during their post-fight interview. We hope the Scouse hasn't read any of the other tweets we're going to talk about in a second. Anyway, Pimblett stated to Aaron Bronstetter that he was very angry, and to be honest, we get it. Who wouldn't be? You win something and it makes the headlines as a controversy. Bro, give the man a break. Out of all the things that got to him, the most was when Joe Rogan chimed in, saying that the fight was a close call. If we were to describe Paddy's reaction, the word would be baffled. He seemed to be amazed by the fact that people even thought of it as being a robbery. According to him, he won the fight, and when in the future people were going to look things up, all that would show would be the green W next to his name. And frankly, he makes sense, no? If you look at it from his perspective, how could it be close? Cause if a fight is a close call, it goes on to be a tie, just like the main event. You know what? Let's not mention the main event, as it's another story for another time. Paddy also said that the fight was not a tie and was a unanimous decision of the three decisive individuals. At the very least, our boy was more than bothered. Following up, wait until he hears what Cormier said. Former UFC champion and commentator Daniel Cormier stated on his YouTube channel that he truly believed Paddy Pimblett had lost, and according to him, the third and the very first round both belonged to Jared Gordon. He said that control of the octagon was being prioritized far less, especially when it came to the cage's side, and he wasn't sure why. But in the third round, when Gordon was clinching Paddy Pimblett, Jared Gordon didn't land many punches. This was also brought up by Pimblett himself, by the way. Even though there were just 2 serious strikes in the third round, Pimblett still scored more, even after Gordon was able to press him pretty hard against the cage. Many predicted that this would be Paddy Pimblett's hardest test yet, and it surely was. Anyway, Pimblett is anticipated to make his comeback when the promotion returns to the O2 Arena in London, England in March 2023. Let's see how that goes. Moving on, why no one's talking about what Gordon said. The guy who was robbed actually believes he was done wrong. And hey, it's not like he's the only one. Many fellow fighters came to his support too. We think the C in UFC stands for controversy. The O'Malley thing back in October. And now this? The UFC veteran believes he should have won against Paddy Pimblett in the co-main event of UFC 282. To the dismay of both fans and critics, the unanimous decision in what was regarded as the most difficult test of Paddy's UFC career, everyone agreed that Gordon's hand should have been raised after the first 3 rounds. So when Pimblett's score was announced, it didn't sit right with people. Gordon responded to the contentious loss in a tweet where he stated that the robbery was obvious and everyone knows of it. He added that he could either go cry over it or push through it. He said that he had gone through things far, far worse and that everything was how God had planned it. He was wicked, but not too much that it'd take a hit on him. He knows something good will come of it. Fellow boxers rallied with Gordon, most of whom criticized the ruling. However, Pimblett defended himself, stating he was quite angry that his victory had been referred to as a robbery by others. But again, he's living the 4-0 life. People will keep on hating no matter what. Coming toward other fighters reacting to Pimblett versus Gordon. As our boy remains undefeated, many think that he shouldn't be. After Pimblett defeated Jared Gordon via majority decision, shock broke out among UFC fighters. Gordon regularly shattered him with strong blows in the first and second rounds before slogging through the third. Despite the quick action, the judges unanimously gave Paddy the win with a score of 29-28. None other than the legend Nate Diaz directly pointed out that the Baddy's opponent looked like he was 145 pounds. Renato Moicano said that the hype was over, and honestly, even though we hate to say it, this might just be true. Terrence McKinney said he believed that Jared got the W and implied that he was sad as he won't get to face the Scouse anymore. Ben Askren tweeted, even before the winner was announced, predicting that round 3 kinda sealed the deal and that Gordon seemed to have the upper hand. Many, like Brian Kelleher, Paul Felder, and Platinum Perry, as we said, weren't happy with the result. A few of them even mentioned that they've lost faith in the sport. Moving up to Cejudo, comparing similar instances. After criticizing the Baddy, Henry continued by stating that it displays bias when such things occur frequently. It ruined the pleasure of the entire event last time it happened. At UFC 280 with the Sean O'Malley and Petr Yan incident, Cejudo continued to insult the judges, declaring that he would bleach his hair blonde solely to grab the judges' attention when he faced off against Sterling. Sean's hand was lifted during Sugar's heated argument with no mercy, shocking the audience. Many theories and conflicts surrounded the group and its leader Dana White White in the days that followed. Jan even went so far as to suggest that he could leave the UFC as a result. O'Malley, on the other hand, has mostly shied away from the topic and suggested that anyone who was unhappy with the result appealed to the courts. Not to forget what Matt Brown had to say. Oh, he had a lot of things to say when it came to Paddy Pimblett. He started by talking about how he knew that one way or another, Paddy was going to be the one coming out with a win in this bout. And after seeing what happened on Saturday, he said it wasn't the least shocking to him. So on the latest episode of The Fighter vs. the Writer, Matt Brown went ahead and talked about how, from what he could tell, Paddy needed to go back to the drawing board and reevaluate himself. He believes that there are a lot of things lacking in Pimblett's game and that he needs to address these problems immediately. He even talked about Pimblett having to head back to Cage Warriors again and starting from the bottom. According to him, while he's in the big leagues right now, his skill isn't what it takes to stay afloat in a situation like this. He believes that the UFC won't make him fight against a tough opponent anytime soon. That's because, like Paddy, they're also riding the hype train, so it wouldn't exactly be good for business if their star man suddenly started losing almost every fight he steps into the octagon for. We're not gonna lie, we feel like Brown might be onto something here, as until Gordon, Paddy hasn't been able to face anyone notable. Scooting back to the sus stuff. People are slamming the way Dana White responded oddly to Paddy Pimblett's contentious points victory against Jared Gordon. Fans are pretty sure that the UFC president's expressions demonstrate that there are way too many dodgy things at play in MMA. Have you watched the clip? It looks very sus if you actually connect the dots. Fans didn't spare a moment to criticize Dana White for his response right before the winner was announced. As Paddy the Baddy took a step up in difficulty versus Gordon, even though it was only his fourth fight in the UFC. The fans and many commentators thought he was outperformed in the fight, but the three judges clearly thought otherwise and awarded the Scouse a 29-28 victory. So now, picture this. The guy who seemed to be losing won, and the boss gave his fellows a nod while sitting ringside. Not just that, he was kinda relieved. It's like Dana already knew the results, which according to fans, takes the fun out of the sport. Let's talk about what the fans had to say. Along with several of Pimblett's supporters, Dana White appeared anxious as they awaited the announcement of the decision. Let's put it nicely. Fans had things to say. Some had already called it, saying they knew it was in the bag, while others expressed their disappointment, saying that they couldn't even look at the octagon anymore. The disgust was really popping out as fans weren't holding back. One fan even said that Dana was doing all sorts of stuff to save Paddy as he knew blood was gonna be spilled in the ring. Another called the whole UFC a joke. And just for the sake of bringing it up, Pimblett's victory came shortly after the Liverpool native and White appeared together on a podcast showcasing their connection. The FBI seems to be looking into possible fight rigging that might have occurred last month. Lastly, the judge did an oopsie. Whether the Athletic Commission will ever take action against the judge, Doug Crosby, is the one question on everyone's mind. Hear us out. Based on their prior behavior, we believe it is reasonable to assume that the Nevada Athletic Commission won't take any action and that Pimblett and Doug Crosby will maintain their honor in spite of past suspicions. One thing is certain, given the industry's current status, there isn't much anybody can do to prevent Crosby from sitting at the judging table for any major fight promotions anytime soon. We guess it's sad that the relevant authorities don't seem the least bit interested in changing the system or bringing about change for the better. That's a wrap for today's video. Who do you think actually won? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to drop a like and make sure you're subscribed. And see you in the next one.